South Korea has its own special breed of cow that produces some of the best beef in the world. It's called Hanu, and it's almost impossible to get outside of South Korea. Just one look at this meat and the first thing that strikes you is the deep red color and the insane marbling in the flesh. It's a perfect balance of buttery fat and beefy meat that makes it one of the best meats to grill, and if you ask me, it's the best beef in the world. And by some amazing circumstance, me and a few friends were able to get an exclusive tour of the processing plant and one of many farms owned by Minsok Hanwoo, where I got to see how these cows are raised and then processed into one of the most beautiful meats on the planet. But let me take you back a little while to show you how this came about. Back in 2023, me and my friend went to a pretty famous grilled oyster restaurant down in Sachon in the southern coast of South Korea. While the oysters were delicious, something that caught my eye was a banner high up on the wall with a foreign man posing with the owner of the restaurant. Well, curiosity got the better of me and I did a little stalking to find out that this man was none other than Austin of the channel Eating What Is Given. He's a professor at KAIST, a top science and technology university in Daejeon, South Korea. And while he's not teaching students, he's out and about all over Korea finding all the best little restaurants, creating content and garnering hundreds of thousands of views. So long story short, I shot him a follow, he shot me a follow. He saw that I was at the oyster restaurant and he invited me on a food tour in Haenam, which you can also find in my video, which I'll link in the description. And then he invited me and my friend back to this very same oyster restaurant for a little gathering of friends and family. That's where we met Minsok. Come to find out, Minsok's family just happens to own and operate the largest privately owned Hanu farm in Korea. So naturally the idea of coming to the farm and factory to do a tour came up, but sort of got lost in the commotion of the drinking and the eating happening that night. And I kind of totally forgot about it. Fast forward to July 2024, and kind of out of nowhere, I get added to a Kakao group chat. And Kakao is like the messaging app here in Korea. I guess Austin had been doing some chatting and some planning and had basically an entire trip already planned for us to visit Andong, a city in middle Korea, to go visit the factory and see how the meat is processed, and then also the farm to see how the cows are raised, and then enjoy an entire night of eating Hanu barbecue, drinks, and friends. Okay, so now you're basically all caught up. Let's go to July 29th. I just flown back from the UK for work. I just picked up Jisung, a long-time friend of mine who lives nearby, and the drive from Jisung's house to factory was about 2.5 hours, so not too bad considering we're going halfway up the entire country. It was a fairly uneventful drive with only a toilet break in between at a service station.
Took a good poop.
And before we knew it, we arrived at the factory, which also just happened to have a store attached to it. It also turned out we were the last people to arrive, so everyone was already there waiting for us in the store. So now we're gonna get a tour of the factory here, which is owned by Minsok's family. And this is Minsok LPC, which is where they process all the meat, all the Hanu meat. We're gonna get a private tour from the family that owns it. It's really fun.
I'm pumped.
Yeah. I don't know if this was sort of the plan to sort of numb us a little bit before we head into the butchering room, but the first place we were taken to was an upstairs viewing area where we caught a glimpse of the freshly dispatched pigs being brought into the abattoir, which for obvious reasons I'm not going to be showing in the video. But here the pigs come in, their blood is already drained, and they're thoroughly cleaned before being hung up onto the hooks which run all along this rail system that goes throughout the entire factory. They're then taken through sort of a furnace that burns off any hair, but also helps disinfect the outside of the pigs. The heads and the guts are removed and then split into half before being graded. We actually learned that the individuals that are in charge of grading both the pork and the beef don't actually work for the factory and are in fact government officials that only work in one factory for a couple months at a time. This is to help prevent any potential corruption which could lead to false meat gradings in order to fetch more money for low quality meats. We didn't really stick around here too long before we were brought into a room to throw on some disposable lab coat looking garments and some waterproof wellies. And then we were walked through a shallow pool of disinfecting water, then into an air chamber to blow off any dust or dirt. I've always seen these types of air chambers in videos, but this was actually my first time in one myself, so I have to say this was pretty exciting for me. And after getting a quick blowing done, the doors opened directly into the pork processing room. The pigs we just saw being graded are cooled down and then moved into this room where dozens of workers scramble to butcher up the pig into all the recognizable cuts we see in the supermarkets and butchers. Sitting here and watching all the butchers get to work was really quite mesmerizing. Every time a pig would come through, like a colony of ants, everyone would swarm and divvy up all the pieces so the rest of the workers can get to cutting. And then by the time the hooks made it to this part of the room, all that's left is the hind legs, which are picked up, deboned, and sent down the conveyor belts to be packaged and refrigerated. After hanging out for a few minutes, admiring the skillfully trained butchers in this room, we were led further in to check out how the Hanu is processed. First, we were led into this cooling room. The cows are processed early in the morning, so we weren't actually able to see that process. but this room is specially built to cool down the meat as fast as possible before butchering and packaging. This room did kind of give me the heebie-jeebies. Something about the dim lighting and the perfectly lined up carcasses was truly something you don't get to see often. We then moved into the beef butchering room, where just like the pork butchering room, dozens of skillfully trained workers get to work breaking down the meat into all the recognizable cuts that we know and love. Most of the meat gets sent down this main conveyor belt to be packaged, but some of the larger pieces that require a little more care and attention are taken off to the side to be broken down. All the meats that get processed are sent down to the end of the production line and slid into these bags, which are then run through this magical machine, which vacuums and seals them with no air at all, ensuring freshness and to prevent oxidization of the meat, which is when that meat turns a brown, unsightly color. After a quick tour of some of the fridge and freezers and other storage facilities, we made our way into the shop that's connected to the factory, where you can also buy some of the top grade Hanu for some of the best prices. They do also have an online store which ships all over the country, but for some of the more unique or less popular cuts, you'll have to come into store to find them. We did choose a whole bunch of different cuts of Hanu to try. I even managed to find beef heart, which is a personal favorite, and incredibly cheap for the amount of meat that you're actually getting. And this was all going to be meat for our Hanu barbecue dinner tonight. After paying and packaging all our meat into ice-packed polystyrene boxes, we made the about 1 hour drive to one of many farms owned and operated by Minsok Hanwoo. Here we got to see some of the Hanu cows up close, see how they're raised and fed, and I even got to see the giant pile of manure produced by all the cows here. And then we even got to ask Minsok some questions about Hanu beef and everything they're doing here. You don't do halal.
Yeah, we don't do.
Is there anyone else in Korea that
Yes.
does halal?
Yes.
There is.
really?
As I know, yes. I think there's 2 or 3. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, yeah, there's 2 or 3.
Wagyu versus Hanu. Now keep in mind, everybody, this is the king of Hanu in Korea. So we're going to have a biased opinion, but what's your analysis?
For me, really Hanu.
Yeah.
You know, because the wagyu is too much greasy
Yes.
and
Yeah.
too much marbling.
I had
And you know, when we enjoy the Hanu as a charcoal fire or pan fried, pan grilled, you can eat a lot, right?
Yeah.
But with wagyu, maybe
Yeah.
just like a 3 or 4 pieces.
I had wagyu recently, and there's not much flavor. Not very beefy at all. So I didn't-
Clean.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
beefy. I think just you know greasy and oily. That's
What's
all.
the difference
Maybe-
between American beef and Hanu beef?
That's difficult question, I think. Because, you know, as you see that the feed and hay is almost same, right? So when I go to US and I order some steak, I really feel
Tastes like Hanu.
yeah, tastes like Hanu, really. The flavor and texture. Still, the Hanu has more marbling score. Like like a 2+9 or 2+8. It's way better than like a prime in US. I think that's the kind of a difference. It comes from the breed.
Anyone who's coming to Korea, having Hanu, for any regular person foreign, is there a way for them to know if they've got your beef, if they go to a restaurant? or
Oh,
anything?
there's no way. But
no way?
you know, some restaurant has a kind of a
Maybe they have like a your
the
brand.
grade certificate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called the 등급 판정서.
Yeah.
Then and you can find the serial number of the cows.
Yeah.
And you can
Google it,
Yeah, Google it.
and they'll come back to
You
you.
can know it. Yeah. Normally it needs about 1 container for 1 barn, and it goes about 10 days.
So 1 shipping container a day. Oh, 10 days.
No. I imported about 1,800 container per year. So it's about 160 per month.
160 a month, so
Approx,
more than
right?
1 a day.
Approx, yeah.
So after this little Q&A session with Minsok, his mother, who just happened to be around, invited us in for a little rest and treated us to some fresh fruit and tea inside their house, which I might say was very, very impressive. But we didn't dilly-dally too long because we needed to stock up on other important things for our dinner tonight, more specifically, the booze. Minsok had chosen a place for us to stay that night, a sort of campground style place with a few cabins scattered around along with some camping spots and barbecue areas. I'd never really stayed at anything like this before in Korea, but the landscaping of this place was pretty on point. Pair that with the amazing weather we were having, and the vibes were really quite immaculate. Hopefully you can hear me over the sound of the cicadas, but we're in this sort of, I don't call it a resort, it feels more like a campground, but there's bungalows everywhere. And this is where we're going to be barbecuing for the night. We bought a whole bunch of meat from the store at the factory, brought it here. We are with the guy whose family owns this entire Hanu beef farm factory thing. And he's going to be cooking us Hanu, cooking it for us over charcoal. So we have a whole bunch of different cuts, maybe too much for us. I went and bought a beef heart as well because I wanted to try, well, I've eaten heart before. I wanted to have some beef heart. That's what we're going to be doing. So the next segment of this video is just going to be barbecuing Korean Hanu beef.
Daegu 뭉티기, baby.
It all falls right now.
Nah, man.
Spinal
Hanu spinal cord.
Is that one long piece or is it
I
multiple?
don't know. I have no idea.
I've never had spinal cord.
It tastes like almost chalky and milky.
Okay.
Almost like an oyster or something. It's really interesting.
What cut is this?
It's a sirloin.
Sirloin. Ooh.
Or some place called ribeye.
UK, sirloin, America, ribeye.
What's the plan with the cutting? How are you gonna cut it?
I'm gonna cut it as a steak.
Okay. You're gonna eat
Here
them
we
all.
go.
And this piece for and
Okay, our grill master for the night. Grilling your cows.
yeah.
So we've got
Sirloin, tenderloin, encourage shrimp.
shrimp,
There's a boneless rib.
bonus rib. We've got a T-bone, a tomahawk. I went and picked up a what is that? A quarter of a heart, maybe. Chicken gizzards. Is this hanjeonsa? That jowl? Pork jowl.
Tenderloin first. Thank you, everybody.
Woo! Popping bottles, baby.
Ready?
Woo! All right.
Oh, you're really good at pouring champagne.
Oh my God, that's good. Just a little hot. I want to do some straight up like ajashi mukbang for just one bite. We need soju first.
Okay.
Soju me up.
Andong soju. So let me explain what this is. We got daegu mungtigi, which is raw, fresh beef cut in thumb-sized pieces. It's called mungtigi, like thumb. Yes.
Specifically thumbs.
Uh-huh.
Whose thumb is standard?
And this sauce is magical. It's the magical mungtigi sauce.
Yes, dip
And we
it,
also
dip
got spinal cord, which you dip in the chamgiram.
I'm kind of.
I know, I'm very skeptical too.
What do we do?
All right.
First? What do you want to do first?
Straight
Go
up,
for
I think
it.
we got to do.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
go for
pretty
it.
long though. You're supposed to eat it that long? Do we need to cut it?
No, you gotta do it. You just
Dip
gotta
it in
do
chamgiram. Jisung's got this.
I'm scared, but
Lots
I'm
of chunky.
I'm with
So,
it.
I mean, I'm down, but that's quite. I feel like I'm gonna
I'll
choke on
find you
that.
a small piece.
Oh jeez.
Or
Can we cut it?
Yeah, we can cut it. Cut it with your. Just take a bite and cut it with your.
Is it that soft?
There, just. It's so good, right?
Oh, it's soft.
So
okay,
good.
I can do that.
Whoa.
So good.
Oh, it's like a noodle.
It's awesome, right? Just eat the whole thing. I'll take I'll take one piece.
What is this?
It tastes milky, right?
Oh, that's so nice.
하나도.
Here we go, baby.
Wow. One of the most pleasant textures I've had in a while.
Are you going for the shilbi already?
Oh, why are these huge?
Just
No.
There's two right over there if you want.
There we go.
Cheers.
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 Oh, that is quite good. It is
Cheers.
milky.
Spiciest kimchi in the world.
I mean, it's the spiciest kimchi in Korea, so
Oh, it's
So then it
hot.
would be.
it would be in the world. Yeah.
Spicy?
At first, it's like, wow.
It does hit you straight away.
Yeah.
Like it hits the
조금만
sides.
걱정이 왔네.
It's definitely the spiciest kimchi I've ever had.
Yeah, it is the
Oh my
spiciest kimchi I've ever
Not
had.
the spiciest thing I've ever had.
Wow.
Perfect. Wow, please.
You've been working so hard.
rare?
No, it's perfect.
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 Perfectly pink.
It looks amazing.
See this pink color inside?
Yeah, man.
Minsok
Minsok Hanwoo, baby.
Yeah.
토마떼?
God.
No.
This is the center of the sirloin, right?
Enjoy!
먼저 먹어.
Oh, it's medium rare.
Butcher this hot. Try and kind of like butterfly this open.
Butcher.
But this, oh wow, that.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you something because I've
Wow.
cooked a lot of heart. This whole piece is inedible. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm gonna
really,
take this.
it's
That's like
so
rock.
tough.
That's rock solid right there.
What's in
Shave
it?
this fat off bit by bit because I don't know where. Oh, this knife is good, sharp.
I've cooked a lot of heart. It's gonna be deep.
I don't mind the
It's
type
gonna
of
be like here.
Right? feel like I'm not cutting as that much off.
I mean, look where you got it from. Man.
Yeah, right?
안심이 하나 최고.
Yeah,
네, 안심은
yeah, no, I'm happy with
It
that.
looks really good.
콩콩 말하니까.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
I think Andy's has right.
Yeah, I think so.
Tender, so tender.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Minsok, thank you, chef. Thank you, chef.
The other side's
Minsok
good.
gets you.
That's all good. That's perfect. I think it's all good for me.
It's not a Angus.
Not Angus.
It's Hanu.
That's right.
He's a showman.
Anyone else? Because I like have kids, so like my friends always say.
That card. It's a movie in Korea.
Johnny.
Oh, is this for me? With the night coming to an end and more drinks in our system, pretty much all of us forgot to film any more content, so this is where I'll leave you guys. If you ever get the chance to visit Korea, I highly recommend you try Hanu beef, but if you're able to make your way down to this part of Korea, I would even more highly recommend visiting Minsok Hanwoo's store and grab yourself some of the best Hanu you can get in Korea. If you enjoyed this video, let me know, and if you're interested in seeing more Korea from my perspective, be sure to subscribe.